welcome to my channel, Plutonian Priestess. If you are new here, go ahead and take a second to hit that subscribe button and that bell button so you can get notified for all my new videos. Today I just wanted to give you a little background on my journey with spirituality and how long I've been into astrology and reading tarot and things like that. I wanted to create a more personal video that let you guys know a little bit more about me and who I am, so you could possibly relate to my videos a little bit more and not just feel like I'm just some random lady talking to you behind the camera. Oh, also, if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, you can do so at PLT Go ahead and give me a follow over there. So my love for astrology started at a very early age. I pretty much was obsessed with anything to do with space at an extremely young age. I had always been someone who was raised super outdoorsy. My dad and we used to always go camping, hiking, fishing, all that stuff, like every weekend. So I was someone who always spent a lot of time in nature and outdoors. And during that, from a young age, I'd always been obsessed with just looking at the stars and talking about the constellations. And one of my favorite shows growing up was always Nova, and I liked the sciencey aspect of it all. And for a very, very long time when I was little, I would tell people that when I grew up, I wanted to be an astronaut. The reality of the situation is, however, I'm awful at physics, and that's just not who I am. Especially those of you who know me, you know that that's just too much for me. But anyway, so I had always been obsessed with space and the planets and everything like that. And when I was a kid, my mom's side of the family had always been more so into spirituality. My mom, not as much. Like, she was vaguely into astrology. Her and her sister, my Aunt Brandy, they both had gotten matching Leo tattoos. And so astrology was kind of common for me growing up. And my Aunt Brandy had always been someone who was super interested into angels, and my grandma was always someone who was really into like dream interpretation, and she's someone who had gone to a lot of Reiki sessions. And so my mom's side of the family was more so spiritually inclined. My dad's side of the family, however, was super hardcore Christian, and I grew up with my dad, so I ended up going to Sunday school and church from a young age, and I was involved in youth group for a long time, probably until I was about like 14 or 15. I went to a youth group, and for a long time when I was younger, I'd always go to church and stuff like that, and I always felt really bad because I didn't like going to church, and I would always try and find ways to get out of going. And the reason that was is because when I was there, I just felt like I didn't really fit in. I didn't feel like it was the place for me, and a lot of the ideologies seemed like they didn't really fit with the actions and the behaviors and the overall energy of the environment. And a lot of the times I would ask questions, and I wouldn't really get the answers I was seeking, or answers that didn't really answer the question or didn't really make sense, or answers with holes in them. And so for me, as I grew up, I became very cynical towards religion, and I became very cynical towards spirituality. And I believed for a very long time that people didn't really need spirituality. I didn't think that it was something that you needed to be a healthy, normal human being. And obviously I have now changed my thought process on that, but I was still, regardless of that thought and that idea. And when I told my dad, I don't believe in God, he was so shocked, like, how could I not, and all this stuff. And it wasn't that I didn't believe in God, because of course I believe in, like, now that my spirituality has developed over time, I believe in a higher source and a creator, of course, but I don't believe in the textbook way that religion and spirituality is handed to people. I think spirituality and religion has like a very bad, to me anyway, I feel like it has a very negative connotation to it. And religion at its core is not negative, it's actually quite positive. But I feel like everyone's religious experience, everyone's spiritual experience, their journey with getting in tune with themselves and getting in tune with the higher realms and finding that purpose and that understanding of what makes their world go round. I feel like your relationship with God, any of that is a very personal experience. And I feel like one of the problems that we have always faced as a society is that we constantly look to others for guidance, and we look to others to lead us and teach us and tell us right from wrong. And we need to actually take the time to look within ourselves and be introspective and find the answers inside of us, because we all have inner knowing and we all have inner guidance, and we are all connected to the same energy. And so essentially we are all created from the same source, and since energy cannot be created nor destroyed, we know that we're all interconnected. Because energy cannot be destroyed, we know that our energy simply changes forms. And so with that being said, it took me a long time to understand what spirituality was to me and what the root of being spiritual was about. And I personally feel like you can look to others to seek advice, and you can always learn and grow from others, but at the end of the day, spirituality is something that is fluid. Religion is something that is fluid. There are mysteries to this world that nobody will ever fully understand. And the spiritual realms, the higher realms, the source that we come from, it is not something that is fully tangible. It is not something that is completely concrete. Like, we live in a very physical realm in this incarnation. So right now we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And with that, we like to, or some people like to have the ideology that you have to see it to believe it, that it has to be, there's proof that everything is black and white. And the reality of things is that there are nuances, there are grays, there are things that cannot be tangibly felt and understood. And spirituality is one of those things. It is a personal relationship that we all must find inner knowing within ourselves to find what our root of our beliefs truly are. And everyone needs to take the time to find their own spiritual roots and their own morality, and to find what their true beliefs are. Like, what are their big picture ideals of the world? And I think that we are here to help aid each other on that journey, but it is not something that we can define for others. I think that every person has their own subjective experience, right? So you could have two people going through the same exact experience at the same exact time, and both people will remember it emotionally and mentally very differently, because we each are having our very own experience that differs from everybody else's. And the beauty of that is that we have the ability to share our experience with the world and share our insight, our knowledge, and our wisdom to help inspire, uplift, and guide others. No one truly will ever have all the answers, and everyone must find the answers within themselves, but we can look to others to find that guidance. And for me, astrology and tarot were two of the ways, especially with astrology, that led me to finding a newfound sense of spirituality. And the reason that is because when I was younger, I have Sun square Neptune too, so, and I also have Neptune in my first house, but I was always someone who had a hard time figuring out who I was and what I was supposed to be. I always felt like I was someone who could be good at a lot of things. I always felt like I was someone who could do anything if I applied myself and tried hard enough, but I didn't know where was the place that I fit in. What was my niche? Where was the thing that made me me? What was my purpose? And for me, I had always been into astrology, and in high school, I would always look up the sun signs of me and my boyfriends and my friends, and I would look up our sun sign synastry and things like that. And then right after high school, I was in a more serious relationship, and we had just started dating, and I was looking at our sun sign synastry online, and there was a website, and on the left hand column there was a list of all the planets, and it was like sun signs, moon signs, Mercury signs, Venus signs, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And so I started clicking to it, and this just started a huge wormhole. So since then I've been studying astrology obsessively, probably reading astrology articles online, reading books every day, ridiculous amounts, for about 5 years now. And astrology was something that at a time in my life where I was transitioning out of high school and into college, where I had felt a lot of pressure on myself because I'm very much a perfectionist, and that's something that I'm trying to work on, but I felt like I had these really high standards and these really high ideals of where I was supposed to go to school and what major I was supposed to have and what I was supposed to do. And all of these situations worked against me, and I ended up going to a school I didn't really want to go to, and then I got there and I had no drive to even be in school. And thank goodness I didn't go to the college that I had actually wanted to go to, because I got into university and I hated everything about it. And then I ended up, over the years, changing my major probably about 3 or 4 times, dropping in and out of college multiple times. And for me, it was really hard for me because I was really trying to discover who I was and where I fit in, and I don't want to call them mundane because everyone has their role, but I was trying to fit myself into these careers and these lifestyles that I just didn't feel like were really me. I could be successful and I could do it. Like, yes, I could have been in environmental science, and at one time I could have been an interior designer, and I could have done all like X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, what was going to really make me fulfilled? What was really going to make me feel complete? And for me, it really took a long time to figure it out. And astrology was one of those things that I turned to that really helped me understand my personality more, understand where my emotions came from, understood my processing system. It helped me heal from certain things that I had to go through in my childhood. It helped me have perspective on my life. I'd never been someone who was really self-pitying in the sense that I felt bad for the things I had gone through. I'd always looked at certain opportunities or lack thereof or certain situations as strength builders, character builders. I had always tried to look at a situation as never something that you can't win from. Like, a loss is never a loss. It's all about your perspective. It's always about how the lessons you've gone through in your life, how they are going to build you up for a bigger and better future. To me, anyway, personally. So for me, for a long time, it was really hard for me to find what my role in life was supposed to be. And in my free time, I would spend all my time reading astrology and reading spirituality and reading self-care books. And one of the books that really sprouted my growth and really got me into manifestation and law of attraction and really wanting to do self-care and healing work was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. I suggest everyone reads that book. So it was just recently in my life that I decided to have a perspective switch, and always remember that the power is in the present. Any moment is a moment to change your life. That I decided that this was something I had been, astrology and I've been working on astrology, studying astrology for about 5 years now, and tarot is something I started getting super seriously into probably going on 2 years ago. And astrology delved me into numerology as well, and then having astrology and numerology, there's so many ties to tarot. It was just natural for me to go into tarot, and then I feel like I connected with tarot really strongly, and that's something I have done almost daily since then. And then recently as well, Reiki has been an interest of mine, and I recently got the opportunity to become Reiki certified, so that was an awesome opportunity for me. Anyways, back to what I was saying. It was only recently that I decided to I was spending so much energy in my free time in self-growth and self-healing, that I decided I have a story to tell, and I have insight and wisdom, and I have this personal spiritual experience that I want to share with others, and hopefully I can lead them with my knowledge to a more enlightened, happier, more fulfilled, abundant life. And so that really is the purpose of Plutonian Priestess, is really just to share my insight and my knowledge that I have gained over time and that I continue to grow. And it's never to say that my ideas are 100% law or that you need to 100% listen to me. I don't think that you should. I think you should take everyone's guidance with a grain of salt, and I think that personal discovery is the most important process of your journey. And I really just hope that Plutonian Priestess can be something that helps awaken others and lead others to really loving themselves and feeling confident in themselves and really living to their highest, truest path. So if you have any questions for me, please leave a comment below. I'd love to answer them. I would like to do hopefully a Q&A video in a few weeks, so if I get enough feedback on this video, I will go ahead and do that. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, don't forget, and I'll see you next time.